Welcome, blessed soul family. I am the Magical Medium, and welcome to this spiritual guidance channel. Today we are doing a special reading. Even though we're not quite at the third quarter moon, we are still in the waning gibbous energy. Today, my beautiful family, is Friday the 13th. So, it's only fitting that we do a special reading for the Divine Feminine. Yes, indeed, I felt it coming through. I had the most beautiful hours this morning with an old friend, a soul sister. It felt so good and yummy, as another soul sister used to say. I love it. I love descriptive words and descriptive energy. The Divine Feminine is here to talk to us today. So strap in. Get yourself something nice to drink or eat. If you're driving, that's okay. Just focus on the road. If you're walking, enjoy your surroundings, wherever you are. If you're at home, cozy in bed, whatever's good for you. But the Divine Feminine have some wonderful messages to convey with us today. For a long time, the number 13 has been really bastardized, as they would say. It has been run through the mud, raked over the coals, and every other thing you can say, descriptive words. But the truth is, the number 13 is actually very lucky because it is the number of the goddess of the Divine Feminine energy. I was blessed enough to be born on a 13. In fact, it is a month today. I'm 51. And I'm feeling this kind of rebirth energy. Thank you, Megan Watterson. I was looking at her name. I was like, I don't know if I ever noticed that before. So I was like looking at it. And artwork, I knew there was another one. I could feel it. Another Divine Feminine. Artwork by Lisbeth Cheever Gesseman. Okay. So we are going to be working with the Divine Feminine energy. And as you can see off here in the background, we've got Gaia. Gaia wanted to come in. That's a beautiful old elder tree. And that little bit of green coming out right there. I was like, oh, I love it. So today is January 13th, 2023 in real time. Whenever you watch this, always timeless. But when I added it together, it's a number 12, which comes out to the number 3. So when you look at 13 and you add it together, it's the number 4. And 4 is all about balance, right? And 3 is our connection to our divine self. Now, on your own, I want you to research these numbers. I am no longer, at least for now, I am not going to be putting anything underneath like I used to, the breadcrumbs, the extra breadcrumbs. I'm just going to speak the breadcrumbs, and whichever pulls out to you, or maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I've been seeing 3s everywhere. Yes, that's a sign for you to go and look up angel number 3, numerology 3, life path 3. It's your own investigation. Okay. Also, I'm going to be putting in the community section the music that inspired this reading. So if you want to research it on your own, you can do that. I take screenshots of it. I leave everything in the imagery for the most part, because sometimes there's numbers, words, imagery. It could be the meditation. It could be the hertz, whatever it is that you need to work with. Okay. And if I'm called to put links for the music, I will. Otherwise, again, it's for you to research on your own, because maybe it was just the imagery. But this one was really great because we had a lot of meditations before it. Okay, so moving on. How are you guys doing? Oh, and I looked down, it was 404, which is also the number 8, and 8 is about infinity. So, the Divine Feminine energy. Before we pull cards, though, in this book, at the beginning of the book, I've had this deck for quite some time, but I don't always read the book all the way through. Some people do, some people don't. I use oracle and tarot cards mostly for visuals. Sometimes I'm really enthralled with the languaging, or it could be, whatever it is from the book that I love. And then, or spirit will be like, yes, this needs to be conveyed. But for the most part, I like to use it I don't use the book all the time because I feel like this is your journey and it's, for you to look at on your own. Also, I must tell you that I just acquired this beautiful vase and candle. It's a cinnamon candle. Okay, so follow me here. I just got that. And then I was drawn to get this really cool orb thing. Okay. In fact, I think I'm going to take off the Divine Feminine so you guys can just like look at this. So I'm not sure. You can kind of see me in it too sometimes, but whatever. I know. Isn't it fantastic? And I got such great deals on them too. I was so blessed. Thank you, Spirit. I asked Spirit the other day, I said, is it a scarcity mentality if I'm good at getting deals? Anyway, that's another thing for another day. But yeah, there's a lot going on in here. So like if you feel like scrying, like every so often if I'm pulled to it, like, oh, look at that. Like maybe I'll stop it there. And also you'll see like there's reflections. There's a lot going on. We've got so much goddess energy from Lilith, the moon, obviously all the goddesses in this book. So this book, the reason why I said all that is because when I started reading this today, I'm like, oh, this is so perfect. I'm like, this is exactly like kind of what I wanted to say today. So I'm going to read the book and then we're going to get into the cards, into the deck. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. And thank you, Divine Goddess Energy. And Galactica is here. I'm not going to be channeling, I don't think, but she just came in. Hi, Galactica. Thank you for being here. Oh, I love her. She's so amazing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. And for those of you who keep coming back, thank you for coming back. Make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Like if you feel like something, is really potent, don't be afraid to share this stuff with your friends. Don't think they're weird or whatever. You never know. Right now I'm really feeling the Muse Messenger vibes of like my job here. So I've been like having fun with both of my channels and offline. I've been doing a lot of work with Spirit. I've been really punching up my meditations. I've been punching up my stretching and just taking care of myself. I think it is just a natural progression at this time of year, whether you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere. I think after the holidays, again, no matter what you celebrate, it's the energy itself that's on the planet. So I feel blessed to live in the winter during that because that's my time. I like to go more inward anyway. So I really implore you to do the same. I don't know if this is just a one-off right now with this reading or because I got the vibe from Spirit at the beginning of this year that I was really just going to focus on the moon readings this year. But then this came into my orbit today and I knew absolutely without a doubt. And I thought that's so funny because I literally got both of these for Valentine's Day. Or at least that's what I thought. And then today when the Divine Feminine asked me to do a reading, I was like, oh, yes. I'm like, it makes so much sense, right? And we've got a little bit of green in there for the heart chakra, but otherwise we've got like pinks and silvers and like these beautiful, really like feminine yet strong colors. Because I feel like the silver kind of reminds me of sword, and we've got a lot of warriors and magical creatures in this deck. So let me introduce this deck to you if you have never worked with the Divine Feminine Oracle. It says, why these ladies of love? The Divine Feminine Oracle contains 53 saints, mystics, poets, priestesses, gender rebels, cross-dressers, trailblazers, and holy trouble makers, who represent both divine beings and the human women who sought to embody them. So, for example, I included the Hindu goddess Kali and also the Hindu saint Anamadaya Ma. And please forgive me if I don't do service by the names. I'm trying. Okay. Said to have been an incarnation of the goddess Kali as divine love. Nice. So the potency of this oracle rests in the variety of images of the divine feminine, not just religious diversity, but also race, culture, gender identity, mythology, and geographic location. And also all aspects of the divine feminine, from what's considered light to quote unquote dark, right? Both. And they are both exalted in this oracle. For example, I include both Saint Perpetua, the 3rd century Christian visionary from North America, and I include Sekhmet, the Egyptian writer, warrior, goddess of sacred rage. Each card represents an aspect of the divine feminine that exists within us and that we've drawn because it's time for us to integrate or embody that aspect more fully. The red thread that connects them all is the legacy of love they each represent. Why this oracle now? I have long believed that there is a connection between our ideas of the divine and the status of women. If the divine is understood to be exclusively male and is referred to only as the father, then men and the masculine are of higher stature, while women and the feminine are valued as less than. This imbalance harms us all. There have always been just as many holy ladies as men. We simply haven't lived in a time that holds the feminine and the female as sacred as it holds the masculine and the male. But gratefully, the time has arrived. Well, I have the chills all over my body, you guys too. Oh my gosh. Either that or you guys are like, which is funny because there's blue on this altar cloth and I kept trying to cover it up. And then I just felt like Spirit was like, you'll know what to do. But that is really interesting because underneath the ball, you can see there's pink too, right? So it's like, I'm saying, like, if you look at genders, they're like, oh, a girl is pink and a boy is blue, which we know now is like ridiculous. But it's like, those are just things that have been brought to us, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're correct or sacred, right? So, and also it's about energy, right? Because we can look at certain stones and crystals, like this is the moonstone. Now, I don't know what its gender is. Now I'm curious to look it up. But I do know that the moonstone aligns with the moon, obviously, right? And that is a feminine energy. Lilith, the divine feminine, right? And the sun is masculine, Ra, because you cannot have one without the other. And so I feel like today it's really interesting. Oh, Jules, you're going to love this. Because we talked about this today. We talked about balance, right? Like it's all about balance. And the last few years have been really fucked for most of us. Like for the light workers, you know, we always have to like get through it to get to it. All of us do. But for the light workers, we have to go through it first because otherwise, how can we lead or teach? Right? Nobody's going to follow us if, you know, there's been many, have you ever seen like those movies, the medieval movies where they're like, the king doesn't fight. And then the king is like, I absolutely, then, you know, in another story, it's like, you know, cause the king's above it. He doesn't fight. He's got his minions for that. Where in other stories, it's like the king is like, no, like this is my kingdom. I'm going to protect it. If I die in the meantime, what's the difference? My life is, you know, anyone else's life is just as valuable as mine, right? Because it all comes from the mindset, right? We can't be angry with all men just because some men fucked up. We can't just be angry with, you know, all of the divine masculine energy, you know, just because, you know, this happened and that happened or whatever. We are now gaining our power back. Like we are pulling that power back into our sight. We're realizing like we are powerful, you know? And yes, in some ways, I mean, obviously in all ways, right? We need men. We wouldn't have been created and been created the way we are, right? Like, can I just be honest? And if you follow the Bible, I'm sorry if this offends you, but I don't not believe it. I have my own thing and that's a whole other episode too. But I will say this, I agree with what they said in the book because when I was growing up, I got really angry about it because I was like, why are we always like, why is it always like father? I'm like, what about the mother? Like I didn't understand certain things, right? And the obeying of obey your father. Ooh, did you see that little spirit that just came through? Um, you know, and like girls can't do this and you know, that's a boy thing or this and it's like look at what we've done as a species, as a race, like a race of humans, right? Like look at what we've done as a collective to elevate the divine feminine energy. You know, I mean, I had a lot of really cool conversations the other day. I went into Silverdale and I met so many beautiful, wonderful, and hello to all of you and welcome. And I just met so many people. I went into like 5 different stores and like met like 10 like magical creatures. Also, I'm seeing little hearts everywhere. Do you guys see this little heart right here? Like focus in on it. See if you see it. I see a heart. That's all I could see now. That's all I see in the wood right there. It's so cute. I take a screenshot and zoom in, but that's like a hug from spirit, you know. But meeting all these different people, it was just amazing. And one person that I had met, I don't remember their name now, but we were having this conversation and I was like thinking to myself, and not in the most loving way, right? Like not in a mean way or shitty way, but I was just like thinking to myself, wow, I'm so glad that this person that I can tell is at least in my, you know, whatever, was born a female, but was dressed like a male, looked like a male, quote unquote, all right, obviously. But their energy was so fucking masculine and sexy. You know what I mean? Like they had their like, it's like they had this little swagger about, I mean, sexy to me, right? Because I mean, I love all men and women. I've been with men and women, but I tend to, like, most of the time, if I've ever been really attracted to a woman, it's usually their really strong masculine energy, because I am a very strong masculine energy myself, and I'm really drawn to that, right? And so I just was thinking to myself how cool and how far the world has come, how far we've come, that they, because there's a time where they would not be able to go out in public like that. And it makes me sick to my stomach that they would be killed or beat up or whatever horrible things. I don't know what their daily life is now. I'm not saying it couldn't happen now. I'm just saying, it takes time, you guys. It takes time to flip the script. And the divine feminine energy has just been like skipped over for a long time. They made 13 the number of the witch, but they made witches who were brought here to be healers from the angel realm. They made witches and into these evil creatures. And then they branded 13 and like, oh, you don't want a 13 on your floor. That's bad luck. I mean, you can go into a lot of buildings today, especially the older buildings, the vintage buildings. You will not see a 13th floor. If it goes above 13, you will not see it. And no one will ever have a 13th floor. They'd have a 12th floor, or they'd keep going. Like, there was it's ironic how much the divine feminine energy has been used and utilized when it's convenient for this patriarchal masculine energy. But at the same time, it's like they're the first ones to throw us under the bus. It's just this kind of very interesting dichotomy that's happened for quite a long time. So I'm very glad and I'm very grateful that this writer was saying, like, like, they know now that it's the time, especially like with the Me Too movement and all that. It's like that made a big difference. And there's still predators. They're everywhere. There will always be predators, right? Like, there's always going to be like this kind of like, and women can be predators too, by the way. Thank you, Spirit, Divine Feminine. Yes. Women, of course, women can be predators, of course. But I'm just saying, like, this predatorial, patriarchal, like, if you want this job, you got to suck my dick. Like, I know that's really brutal, but that's fucking true. And I went through that kind of cattle call system when I was younger, when I first moved to Los Angeles from Chicago. Oh my gosh, you see that, Angel? I saw you. I was actually trying to get to you, but oh, look at you. Oh, did you guys see that? And it's just, I really knew early on that I was not going to be able to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to act, I wanted to sing, I wanted to model, I wanted to be, I was in a band, and I kept auditioning and I kept trying and they tell me I was too fat. And then, like, I worked with a personal trainer. I was like a fucking beast. I would get up at 6 in the morning and I would go to the gym until like, 7 or 7:30. And then, like, I would get up at 6 and like I would work out for like an hour and a half, basically. So however that time was. And then I would go work at one job and then another job. I was working my ass off. My trainer, who was an ex-Miss Olympia, did the body fat test on me. I had 18% body fat, which is like unheard of. And they would still fucking tell me I needed to lose weight. And I was just like, I can't win. I'm done. Like, I'm done. I can't survive here. I don't know how to be here. I don't know how to be myself here. And, this was in the late 90s. Now I know it's changed a lot. Although I watched a shorts came into my orbit the other day of this beautiful goddess. And she did one of those shorts where she's like dancing and music is playing. And then like she's like putting words on the screen. And she was talking about just what I was saying. Like, they used to say to me the same thing. They're like, you're beautiful, but they're like, if you want to be the lead, like, you just have to be thinner. And I was like, I have no body fat, but I was always thick, right? I did gymnastics and cheerleading for a decade of my life when I was a kid, So it was like, that was a big deal. That was like part of my life. And I was very active. I loved sports. And so I had more muscle mass. It was basically, I was going to have to starve myself, get rid of my muscles, because I was in, the waif era, where it was like Kate Moss. As much as I love her, I was like, I wanted to kill her in a way, because I was just like, everybody was like, you want to be like Kate Moss? And I was like, I don't want to be like Kate Moss. She looks like she's about to die. No offense. I mean, I love her, but like, I mean, and I worked with so many models throughout the years, and I wasn't prepared to give up who I was. And I love food, and then it's just like my horrible addictions just got worse. It just made me like a monster trying to fit into this mold of what these men told me I should be. And I was like, okay, and they're like, you're barely 5'3". I was like 5'2" and 3/4 or something. And so like, you're barely 5'3". So on the screen, you go out They're like, it's just not, nobody's going to buy you as the leading lady. I would get that all the time. So they're like, you should just gain some weight and you're so cute. Like you can be the cute, chubby best friend, you know? And I just thought, I remember when Melissa McCarthy came out and I was like, gosh, she is gorgeous and she's funny. And I'm like, and she is whatever she wants to be and nobody's fucking telling her. And I know she had to feed into a role and play a part. And I can only imagine what it's been like for her in a lot of ways. But at the same time, it's like people like her, and there was before her, Kathy and Jimmy, I can go on and on and on, many heroes in my life. Even Bette Midler, like I remember Bette Midler, like they gave her so much shit back in the day. And she's like, I'm not fat. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, and they're like, well, you're not pretty either. So it's just like this gross thing. And we've been tore down and tore down. And now the internet has just gotten out of control with like these filters and apps that are filters. And like, you can change your entire appearance. Haley Bailey, you know, I've been talking about her. Haley Khalil, like she's been like my spirit animal lately. Some things I'm like, okay, interesting. But then other things I'm just like, yeah, she's like right on the money. And I'm so glad that people are following her because I feel like we need her voice right now. Like we need someone like her who's like, I didn't always look like this. You know, she's like, and she's like a science nerd. Like she's extremely intelligent. And, you know, we've had like Mayim Bialik, and I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but, you know, Amy Farrah Fowler from Big Bang Theory, you know, it's like proving that it's like, you can still do it all. You can be an actress. You can be a fucking neuroscientist. Like she's like, I'm a neuroscientist for real, you know, like that's so great. And it's like, you know, she doesn't have to be, everyone kept trying to put her into this cute blossom. A lot of people forget she had her own little show. And I watched that show. I loved that show. It was one of my favorite shows when I was growing up. And, you know, they kept trying to make her into this cutesy wootsy thing. And she's like, no, this is me. And I don't want to wear fucking contacts. I like glasses and I don't want to be a sex symbol. And, you know, I want to be myself and be sexy, but I mean, I don't want to speak for her, but I've watched some of her podcasts. She's really amazing. So anyway, I'm grateful for what's happening on the planet right now. I'm also grateful that people are calling out things like, you know, I'm just going to say this, you know, rest in power, rest in peace, Barbara Walters. I love her. But I do remember growing up watching her interviews and being like, stop fucking asking them those kind of questions. Like, I didn't understand. I was like, that's so people have been like bringing up like old things from Barbara Walters and they're like, I'm sorry, but like, she was kind of brutal. Like she's a woman herself. And I'm like, that's the point though. She was a woman herself and she was just trying to survive in a man's world. I mean, I can go on and on about, you know, Oprah and like so many people. It's just an interesting place. And now the voice of the divine feminine is like, we will no longer be stomped out, you know, like our fire burns bright. We are not here to fucking play small. We are here to change the world. The divine feminine energy, it's like Gaia is the divine feminine energy. She's the planet. Like without Gaia, we have nothing. You know, to try and push out the divine feminine is like trying to like kill yourself, right? And that's what's been happening because you just can't do certain things, or you can, but this is what's going to happen, right? It's like, so with that being said, she said, there have always been just as many holy ladies as men. We simply haven't lived in a time that holds the feminine and the female as sacred as it holds the masculine and male. But gratefully, this time has arrived. This oracle is a form of feminine reparation, repairing our vision and idea of what it means to be sacred, reminding us that women give birth to men, and asserting that the feminine is as essential to the world as oxygen or gravity. The feminine is an elemental aspect crucial to every one of us. Yeah, exactly, right? Just like a woman wouldn't carry a child without the seed of a man. We were given, you know, it's when you look at a tree, right? Their leaves fall off, their seedlings. All trees have different, you know, parts of them that is a part, not all trees, but a great number of trees, they have like seedlings that fall down, right? And it plants more trees. So I want you to sit with that for a second because they're like, put a pin in that for a second. So like, put a pin in that. I'm like, okay. So this oracle is about the divine and the human, as I believe we are all meant to be both. But we've forgotten a human being is as significant and as worthy of reverence as an angel or a goddess. Our purpose is the same, to give and receive love, to lend our light in the effort of expanding the amount of love we can embody. Many of us have believed that there is a celestial hierarchy in all things, that power and importance start at the top with the divine, and then below are the angels, and then below them are the humans, and then among us are severe divisions between sex and race and gender and religion. And then come the animals and all the beautiful created things that exist in this world. It's important to recognize that there isn't a hierarchy in the spiritual world. Existence cannot be ranked on a vertical line or stacked in order of importance. Existence is a continuum that resides on a horizontal axis where each being is as significant as the next. Love is the force that renders us all equal. The power and importance of the universe exists right here within each of us, just waiting to be remembered. You will meet each of these holy ladies eye to eye so they can remind you of your own light. I want you to experience darshan, a form of seeing and being by the divine, with each card. I want this oracle to be a sacred mirror so you can't forget just how much divine love you have come from. Okay. And then she goes into why I won't tell you how to use this oracle. I love that because when I go in and I see, that's probably why I don't look at a lot of beginnings of books. I understand that, they were probably channeled to do that, right? Because maybe somebody picked up that oracle deck for the first time. Maybe, there's a myriad of reasons, but a plethora of reasons, really. But when you look at it like that, yes, but I feel like anything will give you the sign that you need individually, right? Whether it's the imagery, like I said, numbers, words, there's so many things. So I feel like that's what these are meant for. So I'm glad that she said that, because because some people, they're really rigid in their thinking, right? And they're like, oh, I have to do this exactly like they're baking, right? They're like, okay, this is how I do it. And then it can really fuck with somebody. So, however you do it, whatever feels good in your gut is what's good for you. Okay. And then she talks about invocation, soul voice meditation, things like that. But it's a really great book. And then she talks about intention. So I just want to kind of, freewheel it myself, because I just want to ask the divine feminine energy on this blessed day, your sacred day of the 13. Also, it's Freya. It's Friday. So if you want to look up Freya, 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 she is a goddess. I want you to research it. And you can look at Freya. A lot of people look at Freya in a lot of different ways. So I would leave it there and for you to translate that energy on your own. So for the divine feminine energy, what messages do you have for this tribe, for those who will watch this video now or later in the future, whenever it is? I call upon the higher selves of all of those who need these messages from you now and whenever. We also call upon the healing energies of Reiki, the healing energies of the universe. I call upon your higher self and my higher self and the divine feminine energy. Thank you for healing us from the inside out and the outside in. Thank you for balancing and clearing our chakras, for taking away any blockages from our chakras or our auric field, from those messages that need to be heard. Maybe the messages have been hidden. Will you please unclear those blockages? And all you have to do listening is just to say, I accept this. That's all you have to say. With grace and gratitude, I accept this. I accept this healing. I accept this information, this spirit medicine. Thank you, Spirit. We accept this. Thank you, Galactica. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the 9. I feel you here now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the divine energy of the masculine and the feminine. But we do call upon the goddess energy right now, the angels, the divine feminine, wherever you come from. I just heard, and the unicorns. Yes, you're welcome, unicorns. Thank you for being here. Okay, who would like to speak with us first? Let's see. I'm also hearing drink some water, so let's drink some water, you guys. Oh wow, my eyes were closed. Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, I'm sad that happened in a way, but like also really exciting because we'll just use this energy. Hi, I can kind of see you guys back there. Maybe we'll put this here so you can kind of get the divine feminine coming back at you. Okay, which beautiful goddess, maybe there's more than one, would like to speak with us? I thought I had more on my phone than that, but, everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it's not just about, it's my job. I'm a medium. It's about conveying the messages from wherever they're meant to come from. Okay. 5424 is our angel number. It's also the number 15, which comes out to the number 6, which is a derivative of 3. Okay. Oh, no way. Joan of Arc. What? Okay, so let me bring it up close first. Actually, I like the lighting better. See how they know what they're doing always. The Warrior of Light. Yes. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. So, let me read it. So it says, I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armor me with conviction. Wow, that's beautiful. So I have a feeling Spirit's going to have me grab some cards, and then I might be doing some shorts on these, or they're going to have me do something further because I only have 15%, and I was just, in my head, I was like, oh, I need to put this on the charger, or I'll put on the charger. They're like, no. So I'm like, I will do what I'm meant to do when I'm, you know what I'm saying? But I've been feeling shorts today too, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so some people say Brigid. It's a form of Brigid too, as far as I know, because I had a friend who was Bridget, but they used to call her Brigid and Brigid, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not the best. Okay, so the goddess of the eternal flame. I am an eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter. I mean, all right, we're talking about light here. I mean, that's quite interesting. And look how the light shifted. They want me to draw attention to that. The light shifted. That's why the flash went off, right? Because the flash was there for you to play and to look at the pretty, everything that was going on. And now the light shifted because they want you to start looking at yourself in a new light. Like it's time for you to see yourself in a brand new light. I'm hearing that over and over and over. Okay, not yet, not yet, not yet. Hold on. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page with Spirit. Okay. Oh my gosh. So just look at the imagery for a minute. I want to like kind of zoom in a little bit. I feel like this energy is really calling to some of you, or maybe you've had a thing for Joan of Arc your whole life, or Bridget, like whatever, I do know that Joan of Arc, I believe, was French, and Bridget is from the Celtic, I believe, folklore. So again, I feel like you're meant to like research them on your own because there is so much information in the book about these characters and these goddesses, these divine feminine energies. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like if I was meant to read it, I would. Also, they brought my eyes to the flame here. So Joan of Arc is the warrior of light, and then Bridget is like the goddess of the eternal flame, which without, you know what I mean? Like we talked about the sun and the moon and like the balance of the divine feminine and energy. And actually, Joan of Arc, I don't know the full story, but I do know that because she was, I'll fight, I'll blah, blah, blah. Like, you know how it was back then. It was very patriarchal. And they were just like, oh, oh, she's a dyke, using disgusting terms. And like, I mean, whatever you align with, if you align with that, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say disgusting, but I'm just saying like using it in a derogatory way, like where it's definitely not a compliment, right? And just mean to her. And it's like, why? Because she's a woman and she wants to fight, and it's like her stature or the way she looks or, what clothes she wears has nothing to do with them being a warrior, right? And then, so it's kind of to me, and it's like almost in a weird way, it's like I'm saying, and this I'm feeling, by the way, is for those who align with like feminine, like inside outside, like, right? Like I wear quote unquote girl clothes. I wear quote unquote, or I'm like a quote unquote girl because my husband is a quote unquote man. So I hope I'm not trying not to, offend anybody. I hope you're understanding where I'm coming from. But what I'm feeling here is this feels very much like masculine and feminine, right? Like this imagery that we have of masculine and feminine, and Spirit saying like it's time for us to align that energy together, because no matter what you wear or whatever gender you align with, it's like it doesn't matter. It's like if you've noticed in the last several years, it's starting to become a blur where people are like, I don't know anymore. And it's like, yeah, because it was only in these like patriarchal societies that are like, you are a boy, you have a penis, you're a boy, that's it. You have a vagina, you are a girl, that's it. And just kind of like, where it's like, whoa, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I am, or I don't know who I am, or, like, leave me alone. You're like, it's a very interesting place that we're in. And so I feel like the divine feminine is saying that it's about our inner light. It's about the eternal flame of love and light that burns inside of us each day, right? Like, because I was like, well, I don't know if I want to, I want you to be able to see the words, but it's like, I am an eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter. So work with these energies, especially for some of you who are feeling kind of depressed. In the last 2 days, I've worked with two powerful light workers, and both of them are like, oh man, I haven't seen the sun in like a month. I'm like, oh, I know what that feels like. So, find something to do. In fact, this was another thing that came up too. Thank you, Spirit. That's why they had me put this up. I have a still like faith in myself. That's been coming up a lot lately, where people are like, I don't know, I'm just not confident anymore. I've lost that part of myself. I'm like, it's not you. It's just what's happening on the planet. And the angels armor me with conviction. So stick to your guns. And I feel like for some of you, maybe this is like you've wanted to dress differently or look differently, and you've been afraid of being perceived as a quote unquote girl or boy, because I know that we have, they give me the statistics. So we have just as many male identified energies as we do as female. So we have a beautiful group here, a beautiful tribe, and I know that a lot of us come from all different backgrounds and energies. When I didn't know this until I was growing up, like I knew some of my friends were different, or I knew that they didn't like, they didn't seem to like when I really liked boys and I was boy crazy, they weren't as boy crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're growing up together and you're starting to see, they're like, boys are fucking retarded. Like I remember my one friend said that, and I was like, dude, why would you say such a horrible thing? And I'm sorry that came out, but that's literally like, I remember her saying that to me once. And she's a really powerful, powerful woman who loves women, and she's very masculine. And I just remember she said that, and I was just like, oh, that's so awful. And I remember thinking to myself, like, why do you, like, it wasn't like somebody who, when I was growing up, they would say, if a boy pulls your hair, it means he likes you. But it's just anybody, right? If anybody pulls your hair. But I just remember, I'm 51, by the way, for New Year. I'm just going by like how I grew up. When I grew up, in the 70s, it was a much different place. And I just remember thinking, that's awful. And when anybody ever used that word, like one of my friends, she had a special needs brother, and she would say that too. And I was just like, I don't know why, but it would be like jarring to me when I would hear that word. I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jar anybody if I did that. But that's how brutal it was and graphic it was growing up. So I was so confused. I wasn't sure. But then as we became adults, a few of my friends, I was like, it's okay if you like, boys or girls, like whatever was different from what they were told. And they were just like, what? No, I'm not. I'm not a fag. Don't say that, or she's like, oh, I'm not this, and these horrible words. And I was like, why are you saying this? Like, I just didn't understand it. And now it's like, wow, I look back and I counted 9 of my closest friends growing up were not quote unquote normal at all. Some of them, I had a few friends growing up that they liked boys and girls, and they're like, what's wrong with liking both? I don't understand. Like, it's like they genuinely like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? And we've just been like divided down the middle of like how we have to, it's like we've completely separated and segregated our soul and put like compartmentalized all of our existence, to what we were told we should be. And so I feel like the energy from the divine feminine today is about really leaning into the divine feminine energy to find who you are, because think about it. In my experience, it's just a natural, right? Even for women who I know who didn't want kids or whatever, there's still that part of them that comes in, they're like, of course, like this kind of motherly instinct, whether it's towards their dogs or their hamster or whatever, there's just something about a really strong divine feminine energy that is about growth and love and peace and caring for others. And so I feel like the divine feminine energy is exactly that today. They're telling us to remember to love ourselves, to look to our inner light, to not forget that internal flame of love, right? And each day let your light grow bigger. I think what's happening to a lot of light workers is we've just been really confused over our lifetimes and told like who we are or what we are. And even now, like you hear me, I'm trying to make sure I say the right words because I grew up in a different time. And if I've offended you in any way, please know that I am doing my best. And I really genuinely love everybody. But the languaging is, it's still unique. And I'm trying to like learn the language. But at the same time, I'm also trying to figure out certain things myself, you know. So let's see if there are any other messages that want to come through. I feel like this one does, but I don't want to. Any more messages, Spirit? I hope that helped in any way. And also always take from these what you think or what you feel yourself. And I'm going to do shorts. I don't know if I'm going to do them for each of them or if they're going to, you know what I'm saying? Or if it's just going to be one of them. I won't know until I'm done with this. I didn't know I was doing this today. I just got off the phone at like a 3-hour, like yesterday I was on the phone, I think for 4 or 5 hours with one light worker. And today it was like, I think 3 or 3.5. I love it though. Oh, Lala. Oh my gosh. I love Lala. The saint of spoken words. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. Yes. You want to know why I love this so much? Hold on. Okay. Because I came across this quote last night and it was so powerful that I read it to a friend today and I was like, oh my gosh, I must read it to you before my phone dies. So it says, watch your thoughts. They become words. Watch your words. They become actions. Watch your actions. They become habits. Watch your habits because they become your character. Watch your character because it becomes your destiny. So, more self-love, more love for others, forgiveness. They gently remind us that our words for 2023, if you didn't watch the New Year's reading for the tribe, the words for 2023 were hope and humility. We are here. If you found yourself here, it's not an accident. You're here for a reason. You're here to wake up to your gifts and who you are. And look at this. Notice how all of the cards don't have this, just so you know. But look at how all of them have like this kind of sun energy behind them, this light behind them. Some of them, I feel like all of them have something behind them, but they're not all the sun, I should say. I'm starting to look at them now. I'm like, I feel like some of them are more like a sun and some, it's just different. But yeah, but either way, I feel like that's spirit saying like, that's the light behind you. Stay focused. They're saying that to me and to you. Stay focused. Connect with your inner goddess. Talk to all of these beautiful, beautiful divine feminine energies. Work with them, research them more. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you're meant to research them more on your own. It almost feels like a backward picker reading, if that means any sense, or research all of them. Work with all of their energy. But even though the book has guidance, they really want you to do this on your own. And whichever one you are more drawn to, go to that one first, right? Let's see if there are any more. My phone's about to die. And if it does, I like to come back and I'll do some fun stuff. But seriously, take heed to that last quote, which by the way, that quote is by I don't always get it right. Is that Lao Tzu? But I know anyway. So if you want to take a picture of the quote, here it is, because it's really powerful. That's from my mandala coloring book. And coloring has saved my life. If you guys don't color, I highly, highly urge you to color. It is life changing. Honestly. Jules and I were talking about that today. Also, thank you to Anna for my coloring book. I love the astrology coloring book. I can't wait to show some of the pieces I'm working on. But also thank you, Anna, to this. And thank you to all of you guys for your love, for your support, for your prayers, for your guidance. All of my information is in the About section. I am here for you as much as possible. January is going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. I will keep you guys posted. But, my channel, like I said, I feel like it's really going to evolve this year. So thank you for hanging in there. And yeah. Until next time, I feel like those are all of our messages. Do we have anything else, Spirit? Do you want me to say anything else before we go? Oh, yes. This came up. I got 2 new decks. I cannot wait to share with you guys. One of them is a self-care oracle deck, and another one is called the Wellness Oracle or the Wellness Library, and it has 3 different decks in it that have good deeds, positive vibes, and stress less. So on the outside box that I got rid of, I like to make little things, when I pull things from spirit. So I'm hearing stress less. You don't have to do everything all at once, okay? Self-care, self-care, self-care. Take good care of self, right? Because if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't help anybody else. All right, you guys, until next time. Oh, when I looked down, it was 44:44. Woo! Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh, I love you. Bye.